Let's talk about obstacles in the way of small farms succeeding and small farms multiplying. I'm gonna kind of rapid fire at you different obstacles.
Sure.
Give a brief-ish answer on each one. Land access.
That's a tough one. Land access. I don't want to say land reform because I studied that at university and we were looking at people in South America. It wasn't a happy ending. I think there needs to be better design of how land is used.
Yeah, from like a government level, or even, I guess, just cultural, societal. It's a hard question, isn't it?
It's a hard question. I don't have the answer to that. What's the name of the guy that Buckminster Fuller?
I'm not sure if I know.
Yeah, Buckminster Fuller in the 1940s made designs, community designs of what it would like if small farms were making up the countryside. People should look that up. Just that image of him, this image of what a province could look like. It's amazing. And that's how France was 100 years ago.
And was it like each community, if you imagine a suburb, you could almost imagine what if 50% of the backyards were all growing food and everyone in that suburb ate that. Like that's sort of a pretty vision of what it could be, but
it's not a pretty vision because otherwise, if there's no food anymore, because big ag is having a hard time with water shortage, it's having a hard time with climate change. There's going to be massive migration of populations because of the rise of water. And there's going to be a lot of disruption in the next 20 years. Like there's a big possibility that people will start growing their own food because either they won't have access to it or it's going to be too expensive. So that's possible.
That's my next one. The price of produce, the fact that people aren't able to sell their produce for enough, like they're not able to hit their margin. Where do you see that kind of issue getting improved upon?
Yeah, as a farmer, like I want to have better prices. That's my end game. As a consumer, that's kind of because if it's so expensive that you can't buy it because it's local and it's organic and it's it's healthy, nutrient dense, whatever. Yeah, that's another hard one.
Do you think we as a society don't value food enough? Is there an argument to be made? Because that's what some people say.
Yeah, I think when you look at, let's say, a football city and you look at the stadiums, how many people go to watch a football game? The price of a football game in the NFL, let's say, it's just like it's terrible. It's like that's the food cost of a month. So I don't know. Like I think there's this issue of not people valuing the quality of finer foods enough. Usually the people that value finer foods more, they probably have more education, they're a bit more aware of these things, they're perhaps more sophisticated in their own taste, and so it attracts this clientele. But there's a lot of education that goes into all of that.
Yeah, and it's not quite a saying, but an idea that there's two things that people refuse to spend more money on: energy and food. The two things that we actually need every single day. And perhaps that's why, because we just view them as commodities. They're not gadgets that we want in our lives. They're things that we literally need every day. So we just view it, that it has to be a certain price, and anything more is absurd.
Yeah, and I think on that topic, I know this is rapid fire, we need to go faster.
Yeah, that's okay.
Like, please stop putting the pressure on the farmer to produce at lower cost. Like, please stop it. Like, don't get pissed at a grower because he's selling things expensive, because he needs to make a living also. And, it's not his fault if there's no social safety nets, if there's no healthcare, if there's no public education, if there's no, these are all societal issues that the farmer can't bear that on his shoulder. Like the burden of producing food at a low cost shouldn't be his game. He should be focusing on producing high quality, nutritional, valuable food for people to be healthy. That should be his game.
Yeah, and a final note on that point, in your interview that you did with Jeff Moyer from Rodale like last year, I remember him saying that for farmers, it's not their fault that they decided to go conventional and do things cheaper. There was a farmer that said it was the consumer's fault. You told me what you wanted by buying these things.
Yeah, you wanted cheap.
And the more you bought it, I was like, I'm just going to give you what you want. And so there is this question of what role does the consumer play, and then does that mean there needs to be a revolution of education? I mean, I think we all agree there kind of does, but I guess like there's so many different people and ways of getting involved and making this happen other than just being a farmer. And like we need all of the players to come in to change things, because the consumer needs to change, the governments and our whole society and culture, how we think, that's all of it has to shift in order for small farms to grow and to be successful and to not just always be running into walls.
Yeah. And you know, one place where there needs to be a shift is like in universities right now. Like, I'm not sure that too many students are looking at the right issues to tackle in their future. Like the good food revolution, nourishing people, farming technologies that are not only that are based in ecology, human niches and human culture. Like this is a real revolutionary subject. Like, and I sometimes I wonder, like I hear strong debates and really strong focus on social issues that in my mind are not, they're important, but you know, there's others out there. And how we're being fed right now, like, man, if people knew more, it's pretty darn upsetting.
Yeah.
And there's so much room for growth of the alternative. And so, wow, I just feel more energy should be put in these kind of subjects.
Absolutely. All right. The idea that young people that want to start in farming don't have money.
Yeah.
And so how do we, what do you think could be done there to just make it more accessible? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think that just putting money on it solves the issue. Like there could be better, you know, I think there needs to be policies that say, you know, if you want to have young people in farming, which means old people can get out of farming, because that works together.
True.
We need to have policies that redesign and reshape land so that it's smaller, there's more diversity of usage on these pieces of land, and there needs to be some subsidies so that young people have the right equipment to start their farms and not start in a teepee like I did and just kind of buy everything without any money. So, and better education about how to farm, and just like these are all things that could and can and are slowly getting done. So policy plays a big role. Who's involved in policy and why? Like also there's also that. It's like perhaps that we should reconnect with some of the folks that we know that are involved in policy, give them a little bit more of our support, just make them more aware of farming issues, bring them on farms, educate them with fine food.
Yeah.
Like there's this bridge that needs to be. Yeah, and we should get rid of the bozos that are running the show up there. Like it's ridiculous.
What about the idea of taking on debt? I think a lot of young farmers, especially the ones that are super inspired, I think a lot of them are very anti the idea of taking on debt and relying on banks, relying on. Yeah. But I think you come from a bit more of a practical mindset of like, well, you know, most businesses, if you don't have money, the only way you're going to get it off the ground is some sort of investment or loan or something. Yeah. So what do you think, what would you say to a young person that's super resistant to any idea of debt and things like that?
Yeah, I don't know how many more questions you have, but we could wrap it up with this because it comes back to my main point. like the why. The why in business is really important. But once the why is well answered, business is a really, really strong catalyst for change. It's a superstructure of how to organize ideas, thoughts, energy, movement towards something. And so young people that want to start farms, they need to have better acumen of entrepreneurial skills, entrepreneurship, economics, how that works, running small businesses, how that works. And then once you study that, you understand that loans is just one of the tools to get what you need to go somewhere. Business plan, business cases, all of these tools in a toolbox of an entrepreneur are really important, like very important. So that's my message to them.